All right, guys, big news. 2025 Honda models are launched. We're at the Fox Raceway National, but we're kind of secluded. Thursday afternoon, evening, press day just got done, and Honda just released some brand new bikes, 250 and 450 models. We're here with the guy who knows more about them than I do, and more than most people about these models. Trey Canard. He's been in the test rider role with Honda for how many years now?
Yeah, this is my 6th season.
Wow.
So yeah, it's actually I'm getting closer to that 10-year time. So
That's crazy.
It's been exciting, this second stage of my career. So
that's awesome. And so now it feels like to me you have more and more influence every year. And as you learn the production-based side of things, testing, developing, and is that true?
Yeah, I think just the collaboration with our race team and then Honda development, HRC, it's grown so much.
Yeah.
And I think probably a lot of that has to do with our success. You know, they're really trusting our feedback and valuing what we're bringing, and so I think that's part of it. But also, I think there's a big push at Honda, especially in the last 5 years, to try to return to kind of what it was in the 80s. And so it's been really exciting to be a part of that, to have some influence in these models, which I think our race team has had a good hand in that. And then also on the production side, it's trickling in and helping us as a race team. So
awesome.
Both sides are positively impacted, and yeah, I'm excited for people to ride this bike.
That's cool. So big highlights on this thing: stiffer frame, stiffer suspension, new airbox intake, new exhaust. Tell everybody what's the most important update about this bike. The linkage is different. There's quite a few changes. Engine is generally the same on the 450. 250 got some updates, but give everybody a rundown on what's new.
Yeah, I think in the past, Honda's been a really revolutionary company. Coming out with new models, aluminum frame, dual exhaust. To me, this is a very evolutionary product.
Okay.
They've taken what they've learned from the last platform, and it's just elevated. And our race team has been a big part of that. When you say stiffer frame, I'm like, oh, don't say stiffer frame.
Okay.
Because, I hear that Honda has such a stiff frame.
Yeah.
But in reality, our rigidity balance is quite low compared to our competitors. And so, for me, that's the biggest thing. Rigidity balance as a whole on the motorcycle has improved performance in such a big way.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that we have now is, in years past, we'd have great races here or there, and then we'd have terrible races.
Yeah.
And we kind of refer to that as track toughness.
Yeah.
And this bike, we've been to, in our testing process, we go to different tracks.
Yeah.
And on the previous platform, we'd have to start over almost every day.
Really?
Where this one, we've been able to kind of pick up where we left off, and to me, that's huge, man. Just having that consistency across tracks. Stability is a huge thing. Not lifting so much in the rear, harsh feeling through your feet, and then connection in the front. I know our bike turns well, but a lot of people complain about connection, washing the front end knifing, and so being able to slow all that down and still have. I think to me right now when I ride this, it is best in class as far as turning. Awesome. Even with the higher rigidity changes. So, and to me, even better with the higher rigidity changes. So, to me, that's number one. And number two, I know we're not looking at a lot of different changes with the engine. Yeah. But the intake and the exhaust, it smoothed things out so much.
Nice.
And the work that we did with the ECU and the maps, I think, also is I think that people will like it.
Awesome. So it's pretty cool to hear Trey talk about the connection between race team and the production team. You said Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence rode this bike on Monday. They appreciated it. That's pretty cool to see that those guys are willing to ride a stock bike and kind of step out of their comfort zone of what they know and love every day to ride a different bike just a couple days before the start of a new season. So for them to take that time, that's pretty cool. It's also really cool to see Honda release a 250 model at the same time as a 450. We've always known Honda to release the 450 first, and then the 250 kind of follows with similar updates the following year. Now this is the first time I can remember that they've had a new 250 and 450 at the same time. The Works Edition from Honda has been around for a long time, and they've always introduced that at the same time as the standard model, which comes with upgraded shock, Yoshimura exhaust system, different suspension and ECU settings, even some different stuff inside the engine, inside the cylinder. But now they have a 250 Works Edition. So really it's 4 new bikes that are coming out. I personally love the new look of the shrouds. I think it's pretty exotic and trick. The frame, from what I understand, has a lot of changes. The linkage is a little stiffer, different rigidity balance, right? So that's different. Front brake is different. There's a long list of updates on both models, and I'm excited. Also about the new airbox. We've seen like photos of the MXGP guys running this kind of stuff. So talk about what you said in the presentation, how some of the stuff that you guys have bolted on to the race bikes over the last few years, or this last year or this season. Is there some of that stuff that Jet and Hunter are already using that has trickled onto this bike?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things, again, rigidity balance. We can't really do too much for our motorcycles, right? Like we are limited as far as what we can do, but we can change rigidity balance.
Yeah.
And I know that's some of those things have kind of leaked into the media as far as the patches and that's concerned. So that was huge. I mean, just you wouldn't think welding some plates to a frame would make a difference, but man, that first test I had on the Supercross track with our latest package it was like wow. I mean, I couldn't believe the traction that I had in the front end. And then also the linkage too, we learned a lot about. I think that we've had some times where it's been pretty vocal and also pretty noticeable that we were pretty bad in the whoops.
Gotcha.
And so the linkage has made a huge difference as far as that kind of sticky, harsh feeling that we would get that we really couldn't tune out with the shock. So that's made a huge difference. I mean, I think if you look at our bike now, the end of this last Supercross season, you'd almost say it's one of the better bikes on the loops.
Totally.
And so that, I think for our race team, that's a really point of a big pride. Also, Dazzy Lawrence, Lawrence brothers did a lot of runs through the whoops to get to that point. So just knowing that all that has trickled down to the best that we could. Obviously, we want to be running this current linkage system, but we have to do certain things to make it legal. So
awesome.
But those two things have made a huge difference.
That's cool. So what he is talking about there is the production-based rule here in the U.S. and AMA Supercross and Motocross. The factory teams have to use a production bike, and they can add things on here and there, but they can't take away from the frame. They can't use a new frame. They have to use the same general platform that you can buy at your local dealership. The MXGP series, now that's where they can get crazy. You can ride all kinds of wild Frankenstein bikes. You can have teammates with completely different frames. It's not like that here in the US. So it's kind of cool that there is more of a connection between Jet Lawrence and myself, who could buy a Honda and go ride on a weekday here at Paula's. So I think that's pretty cool. Trey, thank you for your time. More about what you're up to away from Honda. We're doing Panic Rev on Sunday, right? So people who are watching this video, if you're local to Southern California, Trey's going to be speaking at, where is it, Guiltless Food Co.
In
Temecula.
Where it's at, but
it's like 20 minutes from here. Yeah. So Trey Canard's going to be there speaking in Temecula at the Panic Rev event Sunday night this weekend. So it's my anniversary, but my wife and I think we're going to be there too. So good stuff. Thank you, Trey. New Honda, more information, technical details on our website, motocrossactionmag.com. See you guys there.